Hi, welcome to the tutorial for the Annabelle apron. If you don't have this pattern, you can find it on my website at KaylaMadeCreative.com. It's a super easy throw-on tieless apron, easy on, easy off, machine washable, and you can adjust the straps for your own size. Enjoy. We are starting with our 3 cutout pieces. If your fabric's too thin, you may want to use a bias tape on these curves. We're using a thin cotton, so we will not be doing that on this project. We're going to start with the straps. We are going to be folding the straps lengthwise. We're going to pin these along this edge and sew at 1/2 inch. Once you have your straps sewn, the next step is to turn them right side out. I'm going to use a safety pin method. I'm going to clip the safety pin on one end and use that to feed the strap through itself. Once you have them both turned right side out, take your straps and press them flat. Once your straps are pressed, you can attach them to the front of your apron. You'll need spaces on the sides for the facing, but we're going to take our strap and put one short end on top. Make sure that your seams are going the same way so that your apron is even. And we're going to place the strap 1/2 inch in, lining up the edges on the top. Then you can baste the straps in place, sewing at 1/2 inch. Next, we're going to work on the facing. You're going to hem the long edge with a 1/4 inch roll hem, so up 1/4 inch and again, and sew in place. Once you have the facing sewn, we can add it to the front of our apron. We're going to place it on the apron front, right sides together. And we're going to pull our straps in to make sure that we don't accidentally catch the straps in that curved edge. Then we can take our facing and place it on top with the hemmed edge at the bottom, pin in place, and sew on all 3 sides at 1/2 inch. The next thing that we're going to do is turn the facing so it's right side out. So we're going to clip our corners. Once your corners are clipped, you can flip the facing to the inside and press. Once the facing is pressed, you're going to sew the rest of that curved edge. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to clip the seam allowance just inside the facing. You want it to be just a little bit above where your seam ends. Then you're going to roll hem these curved edges using a 1/4 inch roll hem. Really press that curve in and it will make your life easier when you're trying to sew along this curve. Once you have that curve sewn, the next thing we're going to do is sew the sides and bottom edge all the way around to the other side. Again, we're going to do that 1/4 inch roll. Press it really well into those curves before you get started. I've got the edge pressed, and now I'm going to pin it in place before I take it to my machine to sew it. Once you have your edge sewn, the next thing that we are going to want to do is check the length of the straps. So you are going to want to try it on. The straps are going to crisscross in the back, and you'll want to double check the length and shorten the straps if necessary. Don't forget to include seam allowance when you are shortening your straps. Once your straps are the correct length, you're going to sew them on right sides together, matching up the top edge and the side edges of both the apron and the strap. And you'll do the same thing to the other side. Once they're pinned in place, you can sew them at 1/2 inch. Once you have them sewn, you're going to take that seam allowance and you are going to trim down just the strap seam allowance so that when we fold it up, that seam allowance will be ultimately encased inside. And then finally, you are going to fold this strap up and you're going to take it to your machine and sew it close to the finished curved edge on your apron. Once it's sewn, your apron is complete and ready to wear. Congratulations on finishing your Annabelle apron. Don't forget to tag me on Instagram at KaylerMadeCreative so that I can see your finished product.